Hey, what's going on, my friends? It's Dave Sharpe. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. And this morning, my friends, we have another amazing guest, a four-time returning guest to Wake Up Legendary. Nicole is a former teacher. She's going to be talking about her journey here in online marketing. She's going to be talking about getting started. She's going to be talking about bouncing back from challenges, losing followers, all the ups, downs, all arounds. You're going to hear it here first. It's going to be a great way to end your week and start your weekend. With that being said, please help me welcome Nicole back to the show. What is up, Nicole?
Hey, Dave, how are you?
I'm fantastic. It's so good to see you again and have you back on the show.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Thanks for having me back. I love being here.
It is our and my pleasure. So tell us, for those who don't know or who didn't hear your original episode or any episode in the past, give us a nutshell version of what got you started in this and on this journey in the first place.
Yeah, so long story short, my husband back in the summer of, gosh, what are we in now, 2024? So 2022, was diagnosed with cancer, and our insurance did not cover any of his chemo treatments. And so we were left to pay for all of that out of pocket, and we figured it out. Had it all situated. During that time frame that he was going through chemo, his job stopped paying him. And so we were literally left broke and desperate and on the verge of bankruptcy and just all the things. And so I, just like so many other people, started searching for ways to make money online. And I came across digital marketing. Affiliate marketing actually at the time is what I first started with. And saw the original $7 course, and I decided, why not? $7, who cares if I don't like it? Whatever. Fell in love with it. Ended up doing really well. And just that's it ever since. I love it. It's so fun.
Sorry, my mic was muted there. I like to just be technically challenged. So yeah, that is a lot to go through. Wow. And hopefully everything is okay now. Yeah, better.
Yeah, he's in remission right now. Yeah.
Good,
Thank
great,
you.
wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful. So happy to
Yeah.
hear that. That's the most important thing.
Exactly. That's exactly. Yeah.
That's the most important thing. I mean, we're going to talk about marketing here. We're going to be talking about making money, followers, all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, I know you, like me, would do whatever it takes to, be there for a loved one who's going through a difficult time. Last year, my father was in the hospital for 88 days. He had a complicated heart surgery. I almost lost him. And so, I know what that's like to be scared crapless about a loved one. And your husband's probably a young stud, so that's even more shocking. My dad's kind of an old man, God bless him. So talk to us about how the journey, what was it like for you as you were going through? I mean, now we're going to talk today about kind of your ups and downs and challenges and losing accounts, 110,000 followers you lost. Hopefully you can get that account back. It's kind of part of the game.
It is.
I guess I mentioned it, so let's jump right into, what, how do you recover from something like that? And what have you learned over the last couple of years that's helping you to stick in to this business instead of quitting when something kind of catastrophic like that happens? Is it because you know the skills and you can deploy those skills anytime? Is it because how are you viewing a situation like that, and also help people understand like why somebody might lose an account
Yeah.
on the internet, on a social media platform?
Yeah. Okay. So starting there, because ultimately, if you're utilizing social media, which is a wonderful tool, don't get me wrong, but those accounts are not yours. Those accounts they do not belong to you. And so it's crucial to be building that, that email list that you can utilize in account or in situations like this. Thank goodness that I have a large email list that I've been able to, send out information and, hey, follow me on this new page, etc. So build it. If you guys, if you don't have an email list, please, 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 please build yourself an email list and utilize that email list. And then also the idea of like being omnipresent, as you've called it in the past, of being on other outlets. And I do have a TikTok, I do have a Facebook, and so I do have those still, and that's great. But Instagram was my main source of marketing. And going to the idea of like, oh my gosh, it was devastating losing that account. I've had that account for a year and a half. I've poured my blood, sweat, and tears into that account. And as somebody who prior to this was not a social media person at all, my idea of being on social media was like, hey, here's a picture of my cute kids, and by the way, there's like somebody's dog loose down the street type of thing. And so that account for me, it was kind of, I've done a lot of reflection on this. It's kind of personal in the aspect of like, that was like home, for lack of better words, because that's where I like took my first steps online and grew and made a crap ton of mistakes and just all the things. So it's kind of sad to like lose a piece of like my childhood, so to speak, in this online journey. But touching on that, I think that a lot of people would really struggle. And this doesn't just go for losing a social media account, but just in general, life in general, but particularly entrepreneurship, is like things are hard. Things can get hard. And I think where people struggle is that they react to a situation instead of respond. And I know a lot of people who would have just thrown in the towel and been like, I lost all these people, or I lost all the, lost this whole account, like, screw it, I'm done. And I did. I had a second there. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And had a little meltdown. Then I realized, you know what? No, this is like, okay. It's okay to feel the feelings. Like, that's fine. Give yourself a day or two. But then choosing to respond rather than to react, I think is been my saving grace in this, and recognizing, okay, so I still have, my ginormous email list. I still have TikTok. I still have Facebook, and I have the skills to rebuild. So that's what I've been looking at. And then also looking at the idea of, well, this is kind of a fun opportunity to utilize, like, against my TikTok account. Like, this is a great opportunity to start learning like TikTok shop. Why not? You know what I mean? Just, again, accessing all those different avenues of online income that we have at our fingertips, quite literally. So I'm utilizing this time to look into that, as well as rebuild everything that I've lost.
Yeah. Well, I mean, entrepreneurship and kind of starting a business is a process of building and rebuilding. The beautiful thing about, this business over time is that you will make money, you will learn lessons. Just like you said, you will realize that social media accounts are not actually your business. Your business, I'll give everybody an analogy. You are like a real estate investor as an internet marketer. Social media account, what you do is you buy and sell real estate, or sometimes you have real estate that you rent out to other people. They become cash flow properties. Sometimes you go through a tough time and you might lose one of those properties. You may not be able to pay. It may make sense to let it go into foreclosure, or it may just go into or it may catch on fire, or something bad may happen to that property. I mean, just they may build a sewage plant right next to it. There's people in downtown St. Petersburg, where I live, who have wonderful views, and because the city's growing, now all of a sudden there's a huge building that's built right next to them, and the view is gone and the value is cut tremendously. So your social media accounts are like these rental properties, these cash flow properties. You kind of own them, but you more own you don't really own anything, because you're only here for a short period of time in life anyways, right? So we're just borrowing stuff in order to help us get through this life as comfortable as possible, right? And so social media accounts are are kind of that. And that's an extreme analogy, but hoping that some of you really understand that the core of your business is the skills that you know.
Yes.
It's your ability to be able to create marketing content on any platform at any time, whether that be paid or free. It's the ability to be able to write an email to your list and get them to respond or buy. It's and then there are assets that are more safe than others. And for example, your email list is one of those assets that, because and the reason why you own your email list is simply because you pay for it. So there is an element of that is your property. You're paying for that list. But if you were doing illegal things that broke the terms and conditions of that particular service that
Right.
you're using, they would cancel your account. And there's a chance you would not take your leads with you. So you have to understand that this is a game and you have to play by the rules, whether you like the rules or not. And there are some ways that people can cheat you. Everybody, all games can be cheated. And so you have to get into this mindset in business that this is a game. I'm going to play the game, and I'm not going to get, and I think you alluded to this, what comes up for you when I say this, I'm not going to get too attached to the outcome, but I'm going to fall in love with the process.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, absolutely. I think one of the things that people tend to get easily sidetracked on with business in general is, like you said, the outcome, the what can I gain from this? What is this going to bring me? All of that, which that's not terrible, but what can you also learn in the process? How can you help other people in the process? How can you serve in the process? How can you grow in the process? What can you take with you to outsource into other areas because of the process, instead of getting so hyper focused on that end result? It's just like day-to-day life. Like if you're so focused on like, okay, this time next week I'm going to be, or this time next month or whatever, I'm going to focus on this instead of living in the moment and being present. Like what's it worth then? What's it worth if you're missing out on everything in between? What's it worth if you're missing out on the process and not serving people and not learning and growing and all of that? So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I do. I totally agree.
Yeah, it's tempting to, to fall in love with the outcomes,
Mhm.
and it's tempting to react instead of respond. Can you say a little bit more about that? You've been doing this now. Did you say 2022? So for about 2 years.
Coming up on 2 years. Yeah.
You've been
Yeah.
doing this for 2 years. I mean, you've built social media accounts up to 6 figures plus. You've you have an email list. You've made some money. I would assume enough to not go back to teaching. So we're talking some some decent money, enough money to be able to live off of.
Mhm.
Um, so how do you respond instead of react when something in your business, like losing an account with 110,000 followers or anything else? I'm sure there's been lots of things along the last 2 years that have been opportunities to react in a dramatic or chaotic or unhealthy way that would hurt you more than anything. What is the difference between responding and reacting? Can you say more about that so we can have some context about
Yeah.
what that looks like as an entrepreneur?
Yeah. So I love this. I actually just did a training on this recently on reacting versus responding. Um, I'm a very big believer that your thoughts dictate your life. And so if you are constantly living in this state of reacting to whatever thoughts are happening in your head, your thoughts are like 99% of the time illogical or um, inaccurate or not serving you or anything in that nature, right? And so if you are constantly in a state of living by and reacting with those thoughts in your head, then I can guarantee that your life's not going to be great. Because basically what's happening is like your thoughts are what dictate how you feel. And so if you're constantly in the state of like negativity or pessimism or whatever, you're going to feel that. You're just going to feel that. And reacting would be taking action or inaction for that matter based off of those feelings. Whereas if you sit back and be like, okay, these are the thoughts that I'm actually thinking. A, are they true? B, are they logical? C, what concrete evidence can I put to them to find out if they're true or not? And then how am I going to choose to respond to whatever situation is at hand? And it's really just that the whole like I love my dad. He's like, he always says people never think before they speak. And that's exactly it's the same idea. It's thinking about what's happening in your head and how you're feeling, the emotions that are inside of you, and then choosing how you want to respond in a logical way. And I think human nature, it's just so much easier to react versus respond. It's emotions are hard, they can be wild, they can be hard. But if you really stop to think about like, what am I actually feeling? What am I thinking? Is this how I want to be responding? Or do I want to respond in a different way? And I've had to do that countless times. I mean, in my life in general, but particularly entrepreneurship it's hard. It requires a lot of self-discipline that, let's be honest, most people don't have. You have to be willing to build that self-discipline. And it can be very personal. This is something that you've built, put your time, your effort, your blood, sweat, and tears into. And so when something happens, it feels like a personal attack, so to speak. And if you if you react that way, you're probably not going to get the best outcome. But if you sit back and realize this isn't necessarily personal, it's not personal that Instagram, took my account down. It's part of the game. It's totally part of the game. So I'm going to choose how I respond to this situation and move forward.
Yeah. Love it. And we're in so much more control of our emotions and our destiny than what we think. We do more damage in our reaction oftentimes than the original incident itself.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I like to think of it kind of like a train going down the tracks, right? Like all of a sudden maybe there's like I don't know how trains work, so forgive me, but like, maybe like there's a rock or something, it kind of like the train starts to derail or whatever. And like, you can choose to like get it back on track, or you can just choose to like, let it like fly down the hill and like explode based off of your reaction rather than responding appropriately to whatever the situation was.
Yeah. Karen says our thoughts are our biggest bullies too.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, don't you feel like if in maybe not now at this point in your life, but maybe, I don't know. I know I am my biggest critic sometimes. If other people said the things that you say to yourself, you'd beat them up.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. Oh my gosh, yes. And I think a lot of times we forget to have compassion for ourselves. And instead we jump to some sort of judgment, or like, even if we do recognize like that you're thinking these thoughts about yourself, you're like, I probably shouldn't be doing that. Like maybe approach it with like, where's that coming from? Do I really think about myself that way? Is that what I really truly believe? Or am I just, again, reacting to a thought or whatever situation is happening? It's so easy to beat ourselves up. And if we just like, I mean, the world in general, if we can just approach things with a little bit more compassion, I think we can set ourselves up to respond rather than react more.
Yeah. Elizabeth says it's the process that makes the person.
Mm.
And I believe that so much too. I really love that. And, it's so true. This process of entrepreneurship and building your business is going to reveal the exact parts of you that you need to work on and grow and improve. What comes up for you when I say that?
Yeah. So I realized during this whole process that it's so much easier to do your job when someone else, your boss, tells you, hey, this is what you need to do, rather than having that self-discipline of like, okay, I know that these are the things that I need to do, but I have young kids, or I'm super busy, or I don't feel good today, or, all the excuses in the world that come up. it's so much easier to not hide behind those excuses when you have someone else telling you what to do, which I find fascinating. Because then it's like forcing you to take a really hard look at like, oh, okay, so I lack that self-discipline. So how do I improve that? It's like a mirror. Like entrepreneurship is like a mirror where you have to constantly be looking in that to figure out, where can I do better? Where can I be better? How can I grow? To just be a better person in general. And it just forces you to do that. It forces you to create that self-discipline and work on those areas that need to be worked on.
So what were the areas that you needed to work on at the beginning? Because to be here still standing 2 years later is an amazing accomplishment, not to mention that you've been able to, not go back to teaching, that you have been able to build a business that you love, develop your mindset. I mean, there's so many things beyond the financial accomplishments that we could list off here. But what did you need to change at the beginning in order to get through that first 90 days at the beginning? What were your limiting beliefs? Like, what were the things that you also see people dealing with and struggling with, that if they don't change them or address them, their
Mhm.
business dreams will end up in the entrepreneur graveyard?
Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh, so many. I think the biggest one that I really struggled with at the beginning was, and I hear this all the time, what if my friends and family find me?
Mm.
I I was terrified, absolutely terrified of that, at the beginning. I would not use my full name. I was absolutely terrified, and I had to get to the point, well, constantly I had to like choose to, well, oh well, their opinions, their thoughts, their beliefs about me and my life are not going to pay for my husband's cancer treatment. So like I had to constantly choose, no, these are my thoughts, these are my values, these are my desires. Screw what everyone else says. But it was a constant battle at first, a constant battle. I think that was the absolute biggest one. The other one was the fear of judgment, just of people in general online. I mean, the online world can be pretty harsh and pretty cruel. And I know that one of the ways that I battled that, particularly as my account started to grow and as I started to see some success, is I am going to have to choose to learn how to build some thick skin, to not let these trolls um, take away from everything that I've built, and every, like, all the opportunity that I have in front of me, like all of that. So again, going back to like the friends and family, what are they going to think? The online world, what are they going to think? And then there's also the piece of like, just, can I do this? Am I good enough? Am I pretty enough? Am I just all that like lack of self-belief. And again, just constantly having to remind myself, like, Nicole, you have no Instagram, or you have no social media experience. Like, of course you're going to suck at this. Of course you're going to suck at this because you have no social media experience. Um, and just remembering that, like, everything that you do in life, you have to learn, and you have to be willing to go through the suck in order to get better. You have to.
Hmm.
And so it's just like everything that came up for me was just, I had to constantly remind myself to choose a different belief.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
you just mentioned some doozies right there, my friend. Why do we care? I don't know that I know the answer to this even after 15 years of doing this. Why do we care so much about what friends and family think? Why is this all just part of our fear of judgment and rejection, that's just part of just the big ball that is the fear of rejection? Or is there something specific about friends and family that we're afraid of? What have you what have you come to conclude about that after 2 years?
So I believe that everyone on the face of the planet, we all have a natural human desire to protect our sense of love, our sense of safety, and our sense of belonging. And I think that if we don't, again, going back to the reacting versus responding thing, is if we don't constantly check in with ourselves and just check, like, what are we doing, then we're going to react in a way that protects our sense of love, safety, and belonging, rather than stopping and choosing, okay, well, this is how I'm going to choose to respond in order to continue to protect that sense of love, safety, and belonging. What I, particularly with my family and friends, what I ultimately realized, because at the beginning I only told, gosh, my husband knew, my parents knew, gosh, I want to say that was about it, that I told that I was doing this. And as people started to find me, and I'd get text messages and be like, "Oh my gosh, is this a fit? Like, what are you doing?" I had to realize that, like, my sense of love, safety, and belonging ultimately needs to be with myself and with the people, like my family, my kids, my husband, my parents, who I'm extremely close with. Like, that's what matters. That's what matters. And I realized that there was a couple of voices in my head that I was particularly thinking about in terms of, like, who I was afraid of, my friends and family finding me. There were a couple of specific people. So a couple of specific people. Once I was able to, like, identify, oh, those are the people that I'm afraid of finding me. And then really sit down and think with myself of, like, do I really actually care? Or is it really threatening my sense of love, safety, and belonging? Or am I just, like, creating a story out of absolutely nothing? And I realized that I was totally creating a story in my own head of what these particular people were thinking. And from there, I was able to be like, why? Why am I doing that? It doesn't matter. It's stupid. And, like, throw it out and focus on what truly matters and the people that do truly support me and believe in me and have had my back this entire way. But again, I had to really sit there and think about, whose voices am I letting hold me back? Where's that fear coming from?
So let's drill down. I want to make sure that I heard you correctly and tease apart who we care more about. Am I hearing you say that there was a possibility that you cared, the people or person or few people that you really cared about finding out were not even your supporters or your biggest supporters? Can you say a little bit more about that? Because if that's the case, we all need to really assess this to determine if who we're really afraid of even gives a damn about us. Say more about that. I really want to make sure that I heard that correctly.
Yeah. Okay. So again, going back to that whole love, safety, and belonging piece, right? So I know, okay, I've got my handful of, my husband, my parents, a couple of close friends. I know that my love, safety, and belonging is actually not threatened by them. It's not. It's the people who, these voices that I was, had stuck in my head, that I don't feel secure in any sort of, love, safety, or belonging with them. I don't. And I was letting that dictate how I was reacting, rather than, finally I stepped back, whatever, and realized, oh, okay, so my hesitancy, my fear is all coming from this place, these voices in my head of people that I don't actually necessarily care, when I stop to think about it, if I'm accepted by, if I belong with, if I'm loved by. So then why am I making this such a big deal then? And I think a lot of people do that just in everyday life in general, but particularly when you're in a situation that's terrifying you. It's so easy. It's human nature to just live in that fear instead of sitting down and recognizing, well, where's this fear actually coming from? Whose voice am I actually letting dictate my actions?
And, right now, I think hopefully we're all taking personal inventory of, like, who are we giving our power away to? Is it people that we feel love? You described it as love, safe. What was your three?
Safety and belonging.
Love, safety, and belonging. I love that. I've always said loved and supported. Love, safety, and belonging. Same thing, but well said. So are the people that I'm worried about finding out, are they really people that I feel love, safety, and belonging with? And the answer is no, I don't. So why am I so worried about if they find out? Well, a lot of times because of some sort of childhood trauma or some sort of an attachment issue that we've had throughout our lives, we will actually work harder to make people love us that are unavailable,
Yeah.
to show and prove to them that we are worthy of their love than the people who actually love us unconditionally.
Yeah.
And that is, I believe, also, if you look over at romantic relationships, one of the reasons why so many of us get caught up in unhealthy, toxic relationship situations where we are chasing people who are unavailable, people who are not safe, people who are not, who do not desire us or love us unconditionally. And when they don't, we see that as a challenge to prove to them that we are worthy of their love instead of, and I would relate this to both men and women who I've heard say this, probably women more because they're able to articulate their feelings better. But I've always heard women describe, well, why am I going after the bad boy instead of the safe guy who's clearly showing me boyfriend husband vibes? But here I'm still chasing after the bad boy. Men do it too. Why am I chasing after the hot girl, the wild girl, the whatever, however men describe women who are, not safe and more, girlfriend wife material? Well, it's because those people who are safe are available. We don't have to work for their love. It's not a big challenge there. But with the person who's unavailable, the bad boy or bad girl, they're unavailable. So it's a challenge for us to show them, to prove to them that we're worthy of their love. And I would say that it's the same dynamic when we're starting a business. These people who are unavailable, who we don't feel safe, belonging, loved, and supported from, we are afraid of their rejection, even though they're already rejecting us and we don't belong, right? But
Exactly.
right. It's a challenge because what I'm doing right now may show them that once again, they're not going to give me their love. I don't belong with them. So it's a challenge for me to convince them, and this may threaten that that case that I'm making to this unavailable person.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. My head just exploded and my hat wow, I don't know if anybody saw that, but it was amazing. Nicole, we are like, for real, who's feeling this? Like, Bob says this is so such great stuff today. I agree, man. Like, I am just blown away right now because like this is so relevant both to our romantic and our business endeavors. And if you've ever caught yourself, chasing after people who are the bad ones that are so tantalizing, right? The unavailable ones, the people that no matter what you do, they will not desire you. They will not, no matter how, if you jump a certain height, they will say that's not high enough.
That's
No matter
exactly.
how, and I've been in relationship like this, trust me, no matter how hard you work, it's not good enough. It's always something that you're doing. It's never them. It's never them.
Yep.
I mean, trust me, this is actually a topic I've been working on for the past, several months in therapy personally, is just this exact thing. I think this is just why realizing that the same thing happens in our business, that we are literally worried about people who are unavailable anyways, and
Mm-hmm.
that our love is not threatened no matter what we do with people who we have safe attachment with and love, support, safety, and belonging with, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly. And I think it translates into, I mean, every part of our world, really, because think about just, okay, so specifically what I see a lot of in the world of digital marketing is not even necessarily that people are afraid of, what friends and family might think. Like, yes, that's not where I'm going with this. Okay. The fear of what's the world going to think about me? What's, the online world going to think about me? And again, going back to like that, well, likely that's coming from a place of you want to be loved, you want to be feel safe, and you want to feel accepted by whomever it is that's watching your videos, rather than finding your people who are just going to be like, yep, you're my person, sold. You know what I mean? And we so focus heavily on showing up inauthentically in a way that you're trying to get that love, safety, and belonging, but it's not actually going to provide you with that, because you're not coming from that authentic, true, genuine place. You're not being yourself. You're not, even if they do say, okay, yeah, you're great, you're putting on this facade that ultimately in the end is going to bite you in the ass, because then you're like, well, now how do I continue to show up as this person? Because that's not actually who I truly am. Rather than right from the get-go, if you're like, yep, this is me, take it or leave it, and truly finding your people, that's what's going to create sustainability for you, particularly in this online space, because it can be a lot. It can be a lot, to continually show up every single day in an online space, particularly if you're something like, I'm very introverted. So it can be very hard to show up like that. Got on a tangent there, sorry, but yes,
No,
it all comes back, in my opinion, it all comes back to that sense of love, safety, and belonging. Where are we seeking it? Where do we actually have it? Why are we not utilizing it in an area that we actually have it? And why are we chasing it in areas that we're never going to get it from?
yeah, that's the thing I think that is mind-boggling, is that we miss so much love, safety, and belonging, as well as financial opportunity and quality of life, because we are worried. It's sort of like this song. I believe Usher was the main singer in Ludacris. Now you're a
Oh,
90s baby like me, right?
oh yes. Oh yes.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun. Remember, he's like, you're looking for love in all the wrong places. Remember how
Yeah.
Luda comes on in that particular
Yeah.
part where he's rapping and he's like,
Yeah.
you're looking for love in all the wrong places.
Uh-huh. That's exactly.
Yeah, I mean, we are, in most of our in most of our life, and obviously this is a business marketing podcast, but I mean, this just so spills over into other areas. We are looking for love in all the wrong places. We have put importance on something that is not, on someone who is not, who is not going to give us the love no matter what we do.
Hmm.
No matter what we do. I
Yeah.
had this interesting, many of you probably know that we went through some drama earlier this year, and where we had like some people kind of out trying to like kill us, some competitors and disgruntled affiliates and customers, and they went to great lengths to try to hurt us. And I made this response. They made some allegations against us, and I made a response video debunking every single allegation.
So
Every I know, and it was every single claim or allegation. I showed facts and proof, screenshots, everything, proving that it was a lie and that it was just slander and really, really just a horrible, horrible act on their part. And I was so proud of it. And I even posted it online. And everybody who saw it for the first couple hours was like, oh my God, Dave, you crushed it.
Yep.
This is wow. This is like how dirty, how low, how whoa. I mean, the facts sell, stories tell, right? And then my lawyer saw it.
I remember
And
this.
he gave me the best piece of PR advice that I'd ever received. He said, Dave, this is like an anchor that's sinking to the bottom.
Mhm,
You don't want to attach yourself to this
mhm,
because it's going to sink to the bottom.
mhm.
And 50% of people, or whoever the group is that has their belief, who's on the bandwagon of those doing the hurting and making the allegations, it doesn't matter whether you put a fact in front of them or not, they're not going to believe it.
Yep. Yep.
And you can see that in politics. Our country is divided right now in politics. And, one side could put facts in front of the other side. And I mean, I'm talking about picture, video, whatever you call a fact nowadays. It could be right there. And that side ain't going to see it. They're
Yeah.
going to make their own story.
Yep.
And this relates back to these people that are not going to love us or support us no matter how much we try or how great we are.
Yep.
No matter how good our content is, how awesome our business is, how much we're trying to improve our lives, the people that don't love are not our safe people and we don't belong to, they are going to find some sort of criticism or some sort of way to disparage what we're doing, no matter what we're doing. I mean, if we went out and took every single dime that we were spending to try to improve our marketing skills and just gave it to homeless children, they would say, well, they're just looking for a pat on the back.
Oh my gosh, exactly. So why are we living and acting or not acting for those people? Why?
This is the mind. I mean, this is like this really is like therapy for me this morning because, and this is why I do this show personally. Sure, it's a marketing thing for our company to interview people, but this conversation, Nicole, I got to thank you for this because this is so relevant. And I think some of you may look at me and think, well, 15-year veteran, this guy never struggles with anything. And while I do have the heart of a lion, I really do. And I'm telling you, I can take some shit. I mean, I can stand strong in the hail, the sleet, the snow, the bombs. I am still human.
Yes.
And I still try to get people who, no matter what I do, will find fault.
Yeah.
Will villainize.
Mm-hmm.
Will make me out to be whatever, some monster in their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I still try to seek those people's approval.
Mm-hmm.
I still try to seek acceptance from those people.
Mm-hmm.
Probably more than all of you realize. And so I'm taking this today and I'm going to evaluate the people who I have been seeking their approval, worrying about what they think. And I am going to, if I have to write them down, if I have to get their picture and put them up on a wall, the people who I am safe with and loved by and belong to no matter what I do. Because I have those people. We all have those people in our lives that we are safe, loved, and belong with no matter what. And I mean, look, there's some people like your mother that would love you no matter even if you went out and killed somebody, but we're far from that. We're just talking about starting a damn business, for God's sakes.
Right.
I mean, we're actually talking about here trying to improve our lives and trying to improve the lives of our family and actually trying to help people in the process.
Yes.
So there are maybe not a lot in each one of our lives, but there are a handful or 2 or 3 people in your life that no matter what you do, you will be loved, you will be supported, you will belong in that family or that
Mhm.
that pack. You will
Mhm.
not be kicked out, unloved, told, gossiped about.
Mhm.
They will have your back. They will talk about you to your face and
Yeah.
protect you behind your back.
Yep.
We all have those people. And so I am going to put those people on a vision board.
Good.
I am going to list those names,
Good.
and I am going to look for and only value their feedback versus anybody else, what anybody else thinks.
Good.
That's my personal takeaway from this morning's conversation with you, Nicole. And I wonder just how many of you listening will have some sort of a takeaway or will be giving yourself some sort of an assignment from this, because this is so profound and so simple yet deep, so deep, that I think this goes back to childhood for so many of us and how we have tried to seek the love and acceptance from people who are just not available and will not support us no matter what we do.
Mhm.
So thank you for this, Nicole. It's been what a wonderful way to end the week. You are a total rock star. You deserve everything and more that's you've gotten and that's coming your way. And redemption, my friend, for
Oh yeah.
your, redemption for your, your challenges is going to be so much more big and powerful. And your kind of comeback in some of these things in terms of your social media accounts and stuff, I know is just going to be like way beyond what you or I could even imagine right now, just because that's the kind of value that you're giving to the world. And people are like afraid of that. People don't like we say, the people who we don't belong to or don't support us, they're afraid of that. They try to silence that,
Yeah.
and so you can't be silenced, girl. You can't be
No,
silenced.
I don't plan on it.
Please don't. Please don't. All right, my friend. Well, hey, my best to you and your family. Okay.
Thank you.
And thanks so much for coming back on. What an incredible morning. And you come back and see me again in the near future. Okay. And let's keep rocking. You stay legendary, my friend.
Same to you, friend.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye, Dave.
Bye bye. All right, my friends. Wow. I really am moved this morning by that conversation. Such a very beautiful conversation, such a powerful, thought-provoking conversation, and something that each one of us needs doesn't need to, but golly, if you weren't moved to assess who you're giving your power away and who you're trying to get like you, love you, support you, convince that you're good enough or to support what you're doing, then please re-listen to this and cut out all distractions, because this morning that conversation has the power to shift our whole outlook on how we live our personal life and build our online marketing business, like just completely shift it. And I want to thank Nicole for that. So powerful and so true. Um, I'm going to leave that right there, my friends. You all know what to do. You all know where we're at. You all know how to get in touch with us, how to start things. We have everything listed that our company offers at legendarymarketer.com/enroll. If you want to get started, go do that now. And please go and follow Nicole over on Instagram. I've got her information up on the screen right now. I'm going to spell it for you. At its dot NICOLE.DYCZEWSKI. We've got that handle, her handle, up on the screen right now for you to go and follow her, and it's been up on the screen the entire episode. My friends, have a great Friday. Be legendary. Listen to this episode again if you need to, and reflect on what was said this morning, because it truly, truly was a life-changing conversation. All right, my friends, get out of here. Have a wonderful Friday and a great weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday for another episode.